Um, I think it's interesting because paths aren't always defined. So I started school as an architectural engineering major. Actually, when I left North, I had scholarships to become an engineer, and that's what I was going to do. I was set on that. I had already taken all these classes, done all these programs, and then I get to college and I'm like, these aren't my people. I don't want to do this. So I was going to go into social work because I enjoy helping people. And at the time, it just didn't make sense because I had all these math and science classes and all these calculus classes that weren't going to transfer. So I'm like, what can I go into where I can still help people feel that I'm, being impactful and really loving life? And so I went into human resources. So I went into human resources and ended up working in nurse recruiting and doing some things with staffing for CHI Health. What's now CHI was then Allegiant. So I went into human resources, ended up landing a job at Kiewit Corporation. And so that's a Fortune 500 company here in town, and it's engineering based. Well, it was kind of a full circle thing. So I knew a little bit about what they were talking about as far as the engineering world, but I was in the people development side of things and I absolutely loved it. Ended up going back to get my master's in organizational leadership, started my business, did that for a while. I've worked in higher education. I worked at Metro teaching as well as working in career services. And so when this opportunity came up for Step Up, it felt like I am now human resources for young people. And because I've made it to the places that people say they want to make it to, I feel like it's my duty and obligation to figure out how to get you all there. Wherever that is, wherever that pinnacle place is for you, it doesn't have to be the corner office in a Fortune 500 company because that's not for everyone. But where is it that you want to go? And I feel like that's one of my skill sets, is really helping to motivate people, helping to inspire people, and also helping to help them strategically plan for the next steps in their lives. So that's my why. And I'm from North Omaha, originally from St. Louis, but I've been in North Omaha my whole life, almost since I was 7. And so I remember thinking about being a minority, not feeling like I was welcome in different places, not feeling like I was good enough, I guess, or enough. I always had really good grades. I had a high GPA. I was a class officer. I had all that stuff, National Honor Society, Student Council, all that. The resume spoke for itself. However, I didn't believe. And so now it's my goal to ensure that we position all of you that are in Step Up with the tools and the access. So my goal is to make sure that you have the resources by way of human capital and that social capital to be able to tap into mentors, to tap into community partners, to have the jobs, all of that. So I feel like my skill sets are really, really good for this role. So that's why I'm here.
So why is the youth so important to you?
Because I don't know, it's like a certain fire. It's like a hunger. It's a vibe that y'all have that when I look at young people and I think about all the things that are possible, I could work with anybody. I can coach anyone. I can go work back in corporate or whatever. But when I think about youth and I think about the future of our community, I think that oftentimes when you're a person, you don't feel you can accomplish a whole lot as a young person. I want to be that adult that tells you you can. You don't have to wait until you're 25. You don't have to wait until you're 45. You can just do it now. So how do I help you do it now? That fire, that hunger, like that passion that you have today for something, it doesn't go away. So I get fulfillment out of seeing you all be successful. I don't need credit. I just enjoy seeing it. Like Jaquez a couple years ago was like, hey, I want to work in radio. Okay, well, it fulfills me to see him hosting a show, right? Why? Because that's what he said he wanted to do. And if I'm able to help him find a vehicle to do that, then let's do it. So
you said you're a creative. What do you mean by that?
So I'm not like a creative as far as like artistry, I would say. But so my dad was an artist and very, very good artist. And I think I have a certain mindset and a certain view, like I have vision. So I can link things together. I can create lessons. I can think about plans. I can put two things together and they don't always make sense to other people, but they make complete sense to me. I can ask you what you want to do when you grow up. And if I ask you that, I will have tons of ideas of how you can get there. That's just my natural way to do things. And so that's what I mean by being a creative in that space. Not necessarily like drawing or anything like that. I used to write a lot of poetry and things of that nature, but I'm really good with my words. I'm really good with ideas, very creative and innovative, more of the innovation space.
Yeah. What's your hardest connection with the teens, you feel like?
Um, Sometimes I don't think I have time to research what's in the now.
Yeah.
So like my kids, I don't know, like the other day, I don't know, I was listening to something, I don't know. And they were like, you know about that? I'm like, whatever, I wasn't born yesterday. But I do think, even like staying up on social media and things of that nature, or staying up on current events, it's important for me to do that, but it's important for me to do that also in your space. Like, what are you guys watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading? What's important to you? I want to know that, but I'm so busy in my job trying to do other things, programming and making sure there's jobs available for you and all those things, that sometimes I don't have that. But I think that there's a certain level of me, of like authenticity, that young people gravitate to. So, I try to keep it real no matter what it is. I also make sure there's no gatekeepers to me. Y'all can text me, you can call me, like whatever. So I think that helps, because even though I may not know everything or may not have whatever the words are that are the newest words of slang or whatever the case may be, I may not know that. But I think that there's a certain element that still allows me to connect with young people. It's always been there, and I don't think it'll go away.
Yeah.
What would you say what would you say like the purpose of Step Up would be?
The purpose of Step Up really is just to prepare you. It's what it says, like give you a step, take you a step ahead of maybe your competition. When you're going to graduate with millions, or for some of you, you've already graduated and you graduate with millions of people. What differentiates your brand? What makes you stand out in the competition? That's what I want to make sure that you know. What is your value add to an organization? I want to ensure that you know how to engage in the community. What do you want to do? How do you want to be known? What's your brand? Like there's a lot of things that Step Up offers, and we want to ensure that each and every one of you feels prepared for that when you leave here.
What would you tell, or what would you say to the teens that do have initiative but don't have passion for anything?
So explain that to me. So what does that initiative look like, but they're not passionate about something? So like, what are they taking initiative on?
They want to move forward. They want to better themselves and better their community, but don't exactly know what route to take and how to do that better in their community.
Great question.
So that is a great question. I think what I would say to that is passion is something, I mean, when you define passion, it's not something you just like, right? It's something you absolutely love. Oftentimes I say, who have you seen that you're like, man, I wish I could live that life? And it's not about the material things. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's like that person appears to be fulfilled in life. They appear to live their best life every day. Who's that? What are they doing? Is that something you'd want to be doing? Is there something you've seen on television? Is there something you've read in a book? Is there something when you Google something, you just find yourself like getting into that deeper and deeper and deeper? You started a Google search and now you're 5 clicks in and you're like, dang, I'm still doing this. When do you find yourself spending a lot of time doing something? Is it helping people? Is it doing research? Is it a certain occupation that you feel like you want to do? Is it a certain industry? Or is it a combination of 5 things that you say, I just don't know the name for that? Because that's where I think some people get stuck, is they don't know the name for it. It's not a teacher. It's not a doctor. It's not an attorney. Like they don't know it. So because they can't put their name on it, there's something inside though that tells them what it is. And I encourage you to talk to somebody like myself that says, hey, if I had the perfect job, it would be this, this, and this all mixed together. Well, let's make it happen. Because what I know is that most jobs are actually created. They're created based on a need. Maybe you say, I want to own a business, but what do you want to own a business doing? And maybe that's a scary thing because people tell you like, you can't do that. but don't allow other people to tell you what you can or can't do, especially when you're young, because you will always have that inner fire, whatever that thing is. Everybody has it, but oftentimes, like you said, you don't know how to go get it. You don't know how to navigate. That's the part that adults are supposed to help you with. That's the part that mentors are supposed to help you with. We help you navigate. It's not my job to tell you you can't do something. My job is to ask you, are you willing to work for it? If the answer is yes, then let's go. So I would tell you to just keep fighting for that it thing. What is that thing? Everybody has it. And oftentimes we had it from even as a younger child. Like, I love to talk, I love to speak. So I started a business speaking and coaching. I love to do that. But I used to do that when I was in elementary school, right? But I didn't know it was called a speaker or a coach. But now that I know, then I can actually navigate that path. So for those who are saying, I don't know how to do it, you don't put the how and the what in the same crock pot. They don't cook together.
Yeah.
If you know what you want to do, somebody can help you figure out how to do it.
What you think about the school system coming up this year for mostly OPS? That's what I'm aiming at. Yeah.
So school, it's one of those things right now that I think we have a unique opportunity to figure out what things are supposed to look like, right? The challenge is, I don't think there's a right answer. Right now we're sitting here together in mask, talking, right? Having a discussion. That's what school can look like. But there's people who don't want to wear masks. There's people who are still very afraid. I think what I appreciate is there's options. So for some, it makes sense to go back into the classroom. For others, it makes sense to stay 100% virtual. I talk about this with my friends, and I also think that it depends on ages. My best friends have kids of all different, we all have different age children. And so when we think about high school versus thinking about elementary, it's a little bit of a different conversation.
Yeah.
I also think that we all have to have some level of responsibility in this, and that it's not all on OPS to figure this out. For those who did the survey, they weighed in. There's others who didn't weigh in. And I think it's just like voting, right? We need to voice our opinions. If you want your opinion to be heard, or you want your viewpoints to be heard, or your lens to be seen, you have to push it out there. And for those who didn't, I don't think you get to complain, but I also think it's a tough situation. I don't know the right answer. There's different states doing different things. We have different levels of cases everywhere. We also know that this virus can mutate at any time. We know that there's going to be a second wave. Just history tells us that, right? So the question is, how do we continue to educate when there's such disparities? There's certain individuals who just aren't doing well online. That's just not the way they learn. So if we take that and we say that's the only option, then how do all those individuals learn? But then if we say everybody has to go back, then what about the people who are fearful, that don't want to do it that way, that may be able to learn at home? So I just think it's a hard, it's a lose-lose right now. We know that young people need to be educated. We can't take 2 years off of school, right? But what can we do? And I think that that's what OPS is trying to work through and navigate through. I talked to Dr. Logan, and she's using all of the information that she receives, whether it's from pediatricians, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, like all kinds of things, to figure out what is the best option. What are the alternatives that we can actually have? So tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in that situation. It was tough for me to say we're going to go forward with Step Up.
Yeah.
It's only 500, right? So I have 1% of what she's trying to figure out, and it still was tough for me. So
I was kind of worried for a second. I was like, I don't think Step Up gonna happen this year, but
a lot of people didn't think Step Up was going to happen, but I think it's one of those things, like I said before, you got to pivot, got to make things happen, got to make something out of nothing sometimes, and figure it out. Were there kinks and things? Of course there were, but we are 2 weeks from the end.
I was about to say, how it's going so far? Like,
I think things are going well. I think we anticipated some of the issues that have happened.
Yeah.
I think that, the first few weeks were rocky. But those weeks are sometimes rocky anyway, just in a normal world because there's a lot going on and a lot of moving parts to this job and to this program. Um, just making sure that people stayed safe was our main thing. And you guys are young, so we have to think about all kinds of things, right? And it's navigating you, your parents, technology this year. So many different things that we had to think about and consider. And even right now with pay cards, we don't control the mail. The mail is delayed and all types of things. So we're doing the best that we can. I think we made a good pivot using Google Classroom, using Zoom. Those have been things that we've done. And ultimately, I feel like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So
Is we gonna see a year program or?
yeah, so right now we're thinking through what the year-round program is going to look like. So for those who aren't familiar with the year-round program, we've had that now since the year I started. We launched it that fall and in 2018. So this will be our third year of year-round,
Yeah.
which we run from about September, October through through April. And we normally have like a monthly meeting in person. This year we had to make that shift for March and April. And when we made that shift, we did it where we had online sessions for March and April.
Yeah.
And again, people said, oh, young people aren't going to sit online for hours or whatever, but we did it. And just having guest speakers and things. So we'll probably have something like that. We'll also have more project-based things that we'll do this year. So we're really just trying to think through what does that look like and how do we continue it in a different way?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I want to say congratulations. Because I was doing the year program for some time.
Mhm. Yeah, you were there sometimes, Jacques.
And the transition was wonderful. So I want
Thank
to
you.
applaud you on that.
Well, thank
And
you.
your team.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. We work hard.
Yeah.
I have a good team. We're all just extremely passionate about what it is that we get to do. And I say we get to do it because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity that can truly change lives. It can change generations. It can, change the trajectory for what it is that you guys are able to do. And I think that's what I stay focused on, even on the hard days. Because every day in my job is not easy, but every day in my job is worth it.
Yeah.
So
I know you're a busy person.
Mhm.
So and we have a lot of kids in the program. Do you ever think about like, how do I say this? Like taking some off your plate and put it onto like a couple of teens?
Of
You think I'm
course.
responsible?
You're gonna launch the Instagram site, right? You're gonna do the IG management.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's what we're getting to. We want to start an advisory board that's more consistent, that really helps to develop what Step Up looks like. This program isn't for me, it's for you. So I want to ensure that the things that we're doing are things that are relevant for you, things that are helpful for you. And it always comes down to, what are you willing to do? What is it that I could offload to you all? What I believe that young people can do anything. Employers will ask me, well, what can they do? I'm like, anything that you teach them to do. And so that's what I truly believe. So you guys have to be prepared to take my job one day to run this thing. So we got to get that started. I'm not going to work forever.
Yeah, that's the plan at least.
So what else are you involved in besides Step Up?
So I sit on some boards. I sit on the Women's Fund of Omaha board, which works to decrease like the gaps, both from an economic standpoint and just deals with women's issues.
Yeah.
Poverty, sex trafficking, all of those different things. I also sit on the Young Professionals Council for the Chamber of Omaha. Step Up has taken me away from that a little bit though, so I haven't been as active. I've served on different boards over time. I do a lot of volunteer work. I am oftentimes a team mom on sports teams. Because I do have children. My children again are about to be 13 and 15. My daughter goes to North,
Oh my
the
God.
Omaha North High School. Yes, she is a Viking. Sorry, Jacquez. Any Huskies? I'm sorry. Eagles, all of y'all. But they're very active in sports. So she plays volleyball. And then my son, she plays for North and the Starlings. And then my son runs track. And of course, track was canceled this year, but he also wrestles. And then he plays football. So I help a lot with those teams, ensuring the quality is there. I want to ensure that the quality is there. A lot of times people say, oh, it's a Northo team. So then they assume something less than.
Yeah.
And my goal is always to make sure that location or zip code does not define what the opportunity looks like. So I do a lot of things with that. I don't know. People call me up all the time. As I told you, I have a business, so I do a lot of coaching, have coaching clients. I used to travel around a little bit more, speaking, going to high schools and colleges and speaking, doing like motivational talks and things. But a lot of my world is people. I'm in the people business. So if it involves people, I'm there. I stay busy because people keep me busy.
So, since you put me on the spot about the page, what type of view you want social media to be? What type of view?
I think, like I talked to you guys about this before, just like having that media street team. I would love to see us showcasing all that Step Up has to offer, both summer and year round. I think it's interesting because it's a best kept secret. There's a lot of people who still don't know about Step Up. So last year we had 700 interns. Our goal this year, we didn't meet our goal just because of the pandemic. We kind of lowered it a little bit, but we have over 500 interns this summer. What are those 500 interns doing? We have about 300 on the 14 and 15 side. So they're at home online every day. But then we have the other 200 who are out working. Where are they at? What are they doing? I'd love, to go to, let's say, up the street at Big Mama's Kitchen, and we highlight Big Mama's Kitchen. And we highlight the interns who are working there and maybe do something fun with them, like some type of cook-off or, something. And we're showcasing that online, right? Or perhaps it's doing an interview with an intern that is in Step Up. Maybe they've been an intern for a while, maybe they haven't been, but just comparing and contrasting, like what have they learned in the program that they didn't know before they entered the program? So highlighting businesses, highlighting the work, and then year round, what are you all doing in school? I want to see, what are you doing in school? What are you doing for extracurricular activities? What's the academics looking like? Let's highlight those individuals who are doing extremely well. When seniors go off to college or to whatever post-secondary options that they're going to, like, what are y'all doing? I want to showcase that. So,
Well, I personally think I want to do it, but I think it'd be hard for the 14, 13, 15.
This year, because they're not live.
Yeah.
But I think there's ways to still do it too. I mean, like they're doing a stock challenge right now. So they all received $100,000 of fake money and they're investing it in the stock market.
Wow.
And so that's, I guess, one of those things that you could still showcase and highlight, right? We're doing a vlogs and blogs and marketing cohort. We have the Socialpreneur Lab cohort. So those young people are going to be selling their products at the end of the summer. And so there's ways to still showcase that online, whether it's going live or it's saying this is what a day in the life of Step Up looks like. I think it's still possible. It just, again, it looks different than if we were live, but it still can happen.
Well, like you said, we're going to prove them wrong.
Whenever somebody tells you something can't happen, you just gotta do it anyway.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
You better find some help. It's a lot of work.
Cough, cough, cough.
Got a team.
Cough.
No.
Come Come on, Anthony.
Come
You
on.
got this.
I'm just playing, just trying to be funny. But like, as a serious question, how do you manage your time with all of this that you're doing?
So, Step Up has been a lot this year. And what I had to realize, and this is what I realized when I went into business for myself too, is I can't be all things to all people all the time. I think that's the one thing that people make a mistake of, is just trying to be all things to all people. And so I knew that Step Up was a priority and making this a success was a priority for me. So I had to tell my kids, and my husband, like, I can't be the best at home every single day. I'm going to be tired. I was working 16, 18-hour days some days. So like, fend for yourself, find you some food, whatever, right? And I think that that's what you have to do. You have to prioritize. You have to give yourself permission to not be perfect, and give yourself some grace, extend yourself some grace and say, what did I do well today? Because it's really easy to beat up on yourself when things don't go well. Like if I don't develop curriculum in a certain time or whatever, I might get down on myself and say, I wanted to have that done already. Or payroll doesn't get run on the day that I wanted to get done. I have to extend myself some grace and say, but you just converted everything to an online payroll system. So there's a benefit to that. Each day I get up with just an attitude of it's time to grind. That's just always been me. I'm a hustler. Like I work hard. I grind. Like I don't even know. Like I grind. And so I get up every day and I say, all right, what we got today? And I just say, let's get it. I mean, honestly, there's going to be certain things that I don't get done that day. There might be things that you guys call me for that I didn't expect. And so then I'm doing that instead of doing something else. But I think the biggest thing is to focus on what it is that you are doing and stay present in that moment versus trying to think about all the things that you have to do, because they will get done. They will get done. So I always say time management, you have to figure out what works for you. I know that there's times where I have to decompress. I might take a ride in my car, listen to some music, and just ride, because I need to clear my mind. So you have to figure out what helps you do that to be able to regroup to do it all over again tomorrow, right? So time management isn't just about getting stuff done and checking them off the list. It's about learning how you operate. How do you keep your mind in motion, but then be able to slow it down when you need to, be able to refocus, reframe your situation, change your attitude about something. Like that's all part of time management.
So then what time do you wake up? Because I personally wake up at like 6, and I know like millionaires wake up at like 5 or like 4.
Yeah. So I'll tell you that my first alarm goes off at about 4, sometimes 3:45. I'm not a morning person, but here's what I learned about myself. So I say it's interesting because I was preparing for the pandemic without knowing I was preparing for the pandemic, but I believe a lot of things happen with energy. And so in November, my birthday is November 10th. And in November, I decided that I was going to do something different. I just had to do something different. I wasn't happy with just my mindset or, like certain things. I just wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. I wasn't doing it the way I wanted to be doing it. And most people from the outside looking in would be like, you were doing everything. You were successful. Like everything's fine. But I wasn't content with what was going on. So I was like, I'm going to start working out. So the week of Thanksgiving, I decided that Monday, I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to go to the gym at 5:00 by myself, no trainer, no friends, no nothing. Why? Because I'm doing it for myself. So if I'm going to do it for myself, I have to do it by myself to start. So I said the whole rest of that week, whole month of December, I was going to do it by myself. And I did. And then I went to a camp. And so I would have to get up at like 4 to get there by 4:45. All of that, did all that. So I proved to myself that, A, you can get up if you really want to. So everything is a choice. We all have choices. And so I've decided now, like when I get up every day, by 5 generally, I get up. But there's certain days where I'm like, nope, I'm sleeping in today. So sleeping in looks a little bit more like 6:30. So there, it just kind of depends. But every day I get up and I have to like write curriculum for the day and send it out to the coaches for the 14-15 side. I have reports that are due. I have calls that I have to make. I have calls that I have to take, being on Zoom. There's a ton of things. So what I try to do is between 5 and like 8 before everybody else gets started, I try to check off a whole lot of things. And I think that that's why people who get up earlier are more successful. I wouldn't say that I go to bed early though. So I don't get as much sleep probably as what I should. But I think it's a matter of like the rest of the world is still shut down when I'm working. So there's nobody to bother me. Where a day, like my phone right now, I keep getting text messages and things like that because everybody up, everybody doing stuff. But nobody's texting me at 5. So it really just depends on the day. But I try to get up early so I can get my day started.
Yeah, I totally get you with the sleep schedule and stuff like that, because I'm more of like a night person because nobody bothers me,
Mhm.
And like me and Anthony, we're both November babies as well.
Woo!
Yep.
What day in November?
Mine's the 3rd.
Okay, Scorpio.
20th.
I think, are you a little past the Scorpio? You okay? Okay, there we go. Yeah, we the best. We the best. That's okay.
So with all this, with all these things that you're doing, how do you take care of yourself?
Great question. Self-care is really important. I don't do it as well. But when I started the whole journey of like working out and eating right, I think that was the best thing I could have done for myself. And I'm actually really excited. I woke up this morning like, okay, I'm so excited. Like I'm about to get back to all of it. Because I had to take a break because I couldn't do all of it. I couldn't do step up and all the other stuff necessarily. And so I had to take a pause. And I felt myself getting really excited literally this morning just about what I'm about to start doing. And one of the things that I started doing to challenge myself mentally was running. So I hadn't run since high school, and I'm gonna date myself right now, but I have been out of high school for 19 years, so almost 20 years. And I hadn't run, not even a mile. And then in February, I think it was like February, one day I was at the gym and I was like, well, can you run? Can you run a mile? Like, you should be able to run a mile. Shouldn't be that hard. So I did, and I was like running. I was like, well, let's just see if you can run 3. And this is like me, internal self, talking to self, right? And I ran 3. So then a few days later, I think it was like 4 days later, I was like, okay, well, let's just see if you can run 5 miles. So I went to the track, I went to North, and it was just me on the track, and I had my earbuds in and my phone, my music. I run to R&B, kind of weird, but I run to R&B, old school. So I'm like running and I'm like, all right, let's see if we can do 5 miles. So then a coach had come out there and they started running. So then I ended up doing 7 miles, and because they were running 2 and we were talking after I had done my 5. And then that next week, so I ran 10.
Wow.
And me lane 5, my R&B. That's it. And so for me, it was like, it was a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was to say, can I do it? And so I think for me, that's part of my self-care, is like challenging myself to do more, which sounds really weird, but it's doing more in a different capacity. It's doing more for me. So like, how am I changing? How is my mindset shifting? How am I getting some of that relief, stress relief? And I've never been a runner. My best friends had wanted me to run a half in May. And so I kept saying I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm 13. That doesn't even make sense to run 13 miles, like for fun. They're like, oh, so fun. I'm like, that just doesn't sound fun to me, right?
Yeah. But
then when I ran the 10, I'm like, well, if I could do 10, I'm sure I could probably do 13.1, And so maybe next year, post-pandemic life, I guess, I'll do a half. But I don't know. I just think you have to put it out there. You have to tell yourself what you want your life to look like. But I also think that I live a life that I love. And so I'm not sure, but I like a certain level of stress. Like that's what keeps me going. So I think some people are like, I want to live a stress-free life. I don't really know that I want to live that. I don't know what to do with that. I like to be busy. I like to be doing stuff.
Yeah, I feel that because just those few months between leaving school and starting Step Up, I had nothing to do, and I hated it so much.
I loved it. I mean, actually, I didn't have like nothing to do. I was still doing other stuff. I was more focused on myself
Yeah.
instead of like school.
But that's what you got to figure out. Like, what do you like to listen to, do, read? Like, some people, I also am an extrovert by way of every stretch of the imagination. I like to talk, but I also recharge my battery with people. And so for people who are introverted or more of an ambivert, they like to recharge their batteries by themselves, right? With a book and a nook or something. And I'm like, that would drive me crazy. So self-care for me may look very different because reading a book is not self-care for me. Hanging out with someone, having like a deep conversation though, I'm like, yeah, like I love that.
Yeah.
That recharges my battery. It gets me, I'm like totally relaxed in that space. Where some people like, that's not self-care. I think self-care looks different. Some people like to go get their nails done, as women, like nails done, toes done, guys too, like just to relax. Massages, things like that. That's never been my thing. So for me, that's not what I look to for self-care. I need just like friends on a deck, we kicking it, we enjoying our Saturday night or whatever. Like that's self-care for me.
Basically, what I heard, she likes to have a little bit of fun.
Work hard, play harder. Hello. Like, yes. I mean, y'all know Miss Monique right here, but I got friends too. We like to kick it.
You got any questions, Ambria? Because you ain't even saying nothing yet.
And Bria, she not a morning person.
Even God says something.
She did.
If you weren't doing like Step Up, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing Step Up, what would I be doing? Something similar. I love young people. So whether it's be coaching in my business or speaking, it always leads me back to teens though. Teens and emerging professionals. So I always say my sweet spot is tweens, teens, and 20-somethings. That's my sweet spot. So it's doing something with y'all. Like no matter what I'm doing, it's something to empower people. It's something to just really help people position themselves. Like I like seeing people win. I just have to see people win. So I would be doing that. I'm sure that one day I'll write a book. I'll put that into the atmosphere. It's all about energy and manifestation. So I will write a book, but it'll probably be more like a pocket guide. So something that maybe when you do graduate, someone gives to you as a gift or something like that. I'm not going to write a novel. I'm not going to write something that's like thousands of pages because who wants to read that? I'm not going to write something like that, but something that's short, sweet, like about leadership and just about navigating those things we were talking about, passion and purpose, like all of that. That's my lane. So I usually stay in my lane pretty well. So I'd be doing something with people, empowering people. That's it. That's it. So my last names are Gunn and Cannon. So Gunn is my main name. Cannon's my married name. I always say I'm a force to be reckoned with, or I could be your secret weapon, whichever you choose. And so I play on those words a lot, but just giving people that ammunition to take it to the next level is what I love to do.
When you do that book, just make sure to have an audio version.
I know, right? Because we love doing audio in my house. Like I introduced audio. We used to do like bedtime stories. Maybe this isn't the best bedtime story, but I have teenagers. So The Hate You Give was one of our first books that we had read together as like a bedtime story. And we did it on audiobook because I was reading to my kids. And we would just lay there and read. And then one night I was just so tired. And my daughter was like, why don't you just get the audiobook? And so we started doing a lot of audiobooks. So sometimes we'll do both. We'll read a little and then we'll listen to audiobook the next day or something like that. So yeah, I'll definitely have to have audiobook.
I'm more of like like hands-on like reading, because like audiobooks, like they just be making me
Fall asleep.
Yeah,
It depends on the voice. For me, it depends on the
Oh
voice.
yeah, the voice. Like,
Yeah.
some teachers just
Yeah.
Especially turn the lights off. Fall asleep.
I can definitely understand that for sure.
Like Embria and I just graduated, and I don't know about Embria, but I'm really scared of like growing up. So what, like a little preview to what you're gonna write. What advice would you give to us as we're leaving?
There's so much.
Stay young.
There's so much. I think hold on, I'm gonna update this real quick. That transition from high school to adulting is always going to be daunting because there's so many unexpecteds. There's so much fear of not doing it right, or not making someone proud, or not making yourself proud, and all these different things. But what I can tell you is you're not the first to do it. You're not the last to do it. And I think that ultimately I say trust your gut and always remain authentic. If you can find your authentic self and be your authentic self, the rest will fall into place. And I also say never chase a paycheck, always chase passion. There's so many people.
Well, I like money.
You can like money, but let the money follow you. Let the money come to you. Don't chase the money. Because there's a lot of things that I could have done in life that pay me a lot more money. But I will say, and I've made more money than what I make here, right? But I am extremely passionate about this work, which is what makes me get up every day. There's been plenty of times where I've made tons of money and absolutely did not enjoy what I was doing every day. You don't want to be in that space because then you make a lot of money and you spend it on something else. You're not saving it. You're not really spending it on things that you really want to spend it on. You're spending it on things like, people say like retail therapy, like, oh, I was sad and things like that. So I went out and I just bought everything up at the mall. So what was the point of making all that money? And then you just have a whole bunch of clothes in your closet that you never wear. Is that really the life you want to live? So I say set goals, set smart goals, be strategic, and tell people what you want. Tell them what you want.
So, I have a question,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just a preview of what the creature is going to look like. Now I'm working on it. This creature,
Okay.
and it's a squid-like creature.
Okay.
So what it is like it'll shape itself into a hand. So do you have any input that you want to put on the creature?
We'll probably have to talk offline about this creature so I can get more about your vision and what you wanted it to do and how you wanted it to be,
Yeah.
And then I'll give you a little input. No problem with that. You trying to tell? I got you, guy. But yeah, I mean, I think for all of you, it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. It's just like when you're going from middle school to high school, it's scary, right? For some, for most, it's scary. But you have to decide what it is that you want to do. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just say, this is what I'm going to do. And don't think that just because you aren't old enough or maybe you didn't feel like you had the best grades, maybe you don't feel like you have the most resources in town or whatever the case is. None of that matters. All of that can be fixed. We can figure that all out. Just know that every single thing that you do, you need to love. There are certain jobs that you might have to have that are stepping stones to getting there.
Mm-hmm.
There's experiences that you have to go through that maybe you don't enjoy as much. But if you keep your eye on the prize, you'll get there and you'll get there a lot faster. So just push. Because I'm telling you, like, it's worth it. And you can design the life that you love. Like, that's the beauty of it all. You don't have to live someone else's life. I come from a single parent home. I read all the statistics about who I was supposed to be. I'm not that girl.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had read and believed the hype, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
I don't know about you, but I know in my life, lots of people have put me down saying like, oh, you can't do it because you're this race or you come from this household. How do you fight those stereotypes and becoming who you want to be rather than listen to what they say?
Trust your gut.
Mm.
Who do you tell yourself that you can be? Who do you want to be? What brand do you want to have out here? It's no different than when I said earlier, like there's a lot of people who said Step Up couldn't happen this year. But I believe that it could. I had a vision and I executed. My boss allowed me to do that. I think the biggest thing is you have to get over the first hurdle. The only way you build confidence is to continue to do things time and time again. It's like I did with the running. I kept saying to myself, it's only real if you could do a little bit more, right? But once I got to 10, and I kid you not, my feet stopped at 9. They literally stopped moving. And I said, oh no, we not doing this today.
Mm.
And so I literally changed my song and I just put it on replay to get that last mile done. I put on Undefeated by Ace Hood and I just ran. And I just let it keep going and going and going. And, you know, it's one of those things where if you don't believe it, it won't happen. But if you do believe it, there's always going to be someone out there that tells you that you can't do something. And I don't care how successful you are, there's always going to be someone who tells you that you can't do something, you won't make it. And you're like, but I'm right here. It's happening. What are you talking about? And they're still telling you that it can't happen. There's going to be somebody out there. So they never go away, ever. So just know that. Keep yourself surrounded with positive people who tell you that they can and they support you. You might have friends for different reasons. I have 3 best friends. I've had those best friends since high school. And they all serve different purposes in my life. And if I call them, it doesn't matter what time I call them, they're there. They may even tell me, I don't even know really how to support you right now, but I'm there. And just hearing that sometimes is enough. So make sure that you surround yourself with people who are going to pour into you, not take away from you. And so if they're continuously adding to you, then you'll be fine. But don't believe the hype about what you look like, where you come from, what your socioeconomic status is. None of that matters in the grand scheme of things, because if you have the ambition to do something and you grind hard enough, you can get wherever you want to be.
All right, guys, that's Monique Cannon.
Whoop, whoop.
Monique Cannon. That was
was so beautiful. Like honestly,
Oh, thank you.
it hits you. You know, like my family, like I have my parents that want me to be successful. Earn lots of money because my mom wanted to be she wanted to go into university, but she didn't finish the university because she had the chance to go here.
Mm-hmm.
So she took that chance and she wants me to be something successful and stuff like that. And honestly, you saying that gives me more inspired to be more passionate about what I want to do later in life.
And that's all this is about for me. That's my purpose. I want you to be better than I am, and than I ever was, and that I'll ever be. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Step Up Omaha. You can sign up every
January.
year in January. So,
Applications open in January. They close at the end of February.
yes.
If you come in March, you're too late.
Too late. So, guys, look out for the application next year,
That's right.
2021,
Woo.
January.
It's like such a futuristic year.
I know. It's like
2021, wow.
2020 was the year that we all thought that we were going to be in flying cars and all this stuff, whatever, like back in the day.
Yeah.
It's like 2020 was it.
Yeah.
And
Still
so
not it.
now we're here and it's a pandemic. I'm like, this isn't what we asked for.
Well, the Omaha North Taste is this Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow, it will start at 12 p.m. located at 5775 Sorensen Parkway, Omaha, Nebraska. Basically, across the street from Nathan Hill, Eagle Nest parking lot. Also, there's there's a car show July 18th and the 19th. Show and Shine. The car show will begin at 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at I-29 Dragway. So if you want to get more information, contact 712277 Donk DONK. With that being said, we're out. Miss Monique Canyon, thank you for coming in today. We know
Thanks
you're
for having
busy.
me.
Thank you.
You're a busy person, so we appreciate your time.
Anything for y'all. Triple J called and I can't.
Yeah. What the time is 10:58. We got about 2 minutes left in the show.
Is there any questions that you want to ask us?
Any input from the team?
Well, what do y'all need from us?
I
That's
wanna-
the biggest question. What do y'all need from us adults?
I want to get Step out more, like internet wise.
I
Okay.
just need ideas for video game characters like enemies.
Okay.
Someone like you that has passion for helping us and actually listening to us, because many adults, they say they want to help us, but they'll never listen to what we have to say. So just having more open-minded adults around us and supporting us along our way.
Love that.
Honestly, like I feel like a good idea is to start like a type of like organization for like young adults that have already graduated that still need like like
The guidance.
the guidance for college and stuff like that for their future careers that they want.
So what does that look like? Because
Honestly,
there's all types of groups and things like that, right? And on college campuses and different things, but like obviously that's not filling the void. So what might it look like?
like honestly like motivational meetings and stuff like that, like just talking and stuff like that, just like venting, like
Okay.
because like there's some people like that have like once they start college it's a whole nother stress, it's like 10 times worse than high school stress, and so like they needed like time to like de-stress, time to like be assured, reassured,
Yeah.
like you can do
You can do this,
and
you
stuff
got
like that,
this, yeah.
motivation.
And also on top of that, financial guidance, because college is extremely expensive, and especially if you don't know how to manage money, especially since you're becoming independent for the first time in your life, you don't know how to manage money at all. So just some guidance and saying like, don't spend too much on trips, spend on your rent and stuff like that.
Yeah. And also make sure they know it's other choices other than college, like trade
Yes.
school. And,
Yeah. There's tons of post-secondary options.
Yeah.
Also like diet, like the diet, like keep healthy and stuff like
Not
that.
get the freshman 15.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can tell you anything about that because I caught it. No. No, I think there's a lot of things. And even one thing that we're doing with the 14, 15-year-olds, we have a theme of the day every day. And so Mondays are Make It Happen Monday. We do life skills and basic things like that. And then Tuesdays is Talk About It Tuesday. We look at career options and the career clusters. Wednesdays is What's New Wednesday. We talk about civic engagement, how to get involved, volunteerism, social issues, even the unrest that's happening right now. Like we talk about that every week. And then Thursdays is Think About It Thursday. We talk about entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity. And then Fridays is our fun, physical, and financially fit Fridays. So we've done everything from Mixed Fit Online to having the investment things that we're talking about. So learning about stock and also bringing individuals on to talk about those financial pieces. And that's the goal for us for next year for the 18 to 21-year-old group, those that are graduating and transitioning on, is to focus a little bit more on that financial aspect. What do you want to live? What do you want to have? What do you want to do? And how you go about doing that. So I think maybe you guys are great candidates to help me build that out then a little bit more so we can make sure that we're solid on that and then take it out to the community. Because obviously it's not just step up interns that need the help or the support. It's everybody in our city that needs the help and the support. And so even when Bria asked, what are you going to do next? I do foresee that those are some of the things that I'll do next. And I have a vision to have like a building where you like come in and you maybe you want to work on the radio. So you come into this spot and you do this, but then maybe you want to go into the medical field, or you want to learn about customer service. And so it's like you're putting headsets on, you're doing different interactive things and stuff. But that's my thing. Like each floor would be some type of business setting where you're coming in and it's simulating what you'd be doing, just like a truck driver. They simulate what's happening, or talk about aviation, they simulate it. But we don't do that in the service industry a lot. And so I would love to have something that you're able to walk in and you're able to do that and you're able to learn a little bit more about life skills and such too. So I don't know. I don't know where I'll go next and where I'll go from here, but I can tell you that it will still be empowering people and doing something great for them. So maybe you guys can help me with that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Place up. Why, Vivi? Why, Vivi?
Why baby? Why baby? Why baby? Young black visionary. Why baby? Why baby? Why baby? See the light and we walk into it. Tapped in worldwide. Hot power. Listen to this mind shower. And meditation deep. Then it woke me on my sleep. How we still ain't make that leap to where we supposed to be. Could it be a lack of empathy for one another? We bear fruit and we chopping down a tree. Meaning once we taste success, we forget about the rest. Sip until nothing's left, then board a private jet. Nah, that ain't it. We clasp hands like vice grips. We pick each other up more than little babies, kids. If I got it, you get it. If you need it, I lend it. If you hungry, we split it. One important thing for us to see is manipulation through music, news, and TV. Sports and entertainment, those the lanes to aim at. Very few gon' make it. False scarcity, now we see. Whole new age, agrarian sound. It's a whole new age, agrarian sound. Whole new age, agrarian sound. It's the whole new age, agrarian sound. Why baby?